Hello, hello, Rockstars! Welcome to our Polaris Quilt-A-Long virtual quilt show. My name is Holly, a Knight of String and Story, and it's my job to guide you to quilt with confidence. And I am so excited to be with you today to present some really special projects. Now, you may notice I am live a couple of minutes before the hour. That is because if you saw my stories that I put up just a couple of minutes ago, I made a technology goober. And that is that we did what we usually do to create the link for y'all to be able to join us. And I realized this morning, oh, shoot, I have a slide deck. And the process is different and a little more time sensitive when I have a slide deck to share. So if you are here with me live, you are in the right place. I'm really hoping that our friends who are going to be trying to join from the email will be able to find us. So honestly, you're going to get a couple of minutes of me chit-chatting as we get started, just to give everyone time and opportunity to find us. So if you are here with me live, do say hi in the chat. I'm going to be toggling back and forth between my StreamYard tab, where I am streaming from, and my Instagram tab, where I can see your lovely comments. Good morning, Jen. Oh, excuse me. That was quite the hiccup. Good morning, Jen. Good morning, y'all. Now, I do have a confession while we're in our little chit-chat stage here. And that confession is that my Ruby Star Society Polaris is not yet together. As y'all know, I have been in and out of town over the last month. Basically, since we started the Quilt-A-Long, I have been home, hang on, half, 1, 2, maybe 3 of the 7 weeks. So I've been home half-ish the time. So we are making good progress. As you also know, I am making the 8x8, the 64 block quilt. And don't you worry, you will get sick of seeing it here on Instagram as it finishes coming together. So, it is what it is. And you know what? Let that be a reminder to y'all that those of you who jumped in with us on this Quilt-A-Long and you are still in progress, today is a celebration, but it doesn't have to be the only finish line, right? We apply this in Free Motion Quilting Academy as well. And that is the whole concept that we have a moment of time and celebration, but your pace is also the perfect pace, right? So getting to work and get stuff done as your life allows, life happens, right? And I've had a lot of life happen in the last 6 weeks. So if you're still working on yours, great news is we have about another 6 weeks till our next Quilt-A-Long kicks off. So we have time to continue puttering through this. All right. Let me see some of these lovely comments from all of y'all. Good morning, everyone. Hello, Melissa in Texas. Hello, Darcella. I see Jen and Susan. Good morning. Catherine Marco in Florida. Michelle, good morning. Michelle, I think, did you cut it out? Is that what you did? One of y'all was saying that you cut it out, but that's where it got started. But I know that you will get it done. Michelle is a finisher. She like me, tends to bite off lots of bites of projects, but she's also a finisher, so she'll get it done. Margot says, I had knee replacement surgery, so I've not worked on any projects at all. Margot, how is your recovery going? Your job right now, your creative action is building fresh knee tissue, okay? You're doing a great job. Jane says, good morning from Western Canada. A huge tree fell on my house. Oh, no. Oh my gosh, Jane, I am so sorry that happened. And I am so thankful that you are safe. Of course, I would love an update on the quilt, but the primary thing I care about is that you are safe and you're joining us. Oh my gosh, thanks for tuning in. JMK49, Kraus in Wisconsin, welcome. I am delighted to see all of y'all. So reminder, your pace is the perfect pace. I am going to offer a shameless plug. And as usual, when I mention links, I will make sure that they are up in my stories after our time together. So I'm going to mention them now. They will probably come up again as we look at our slides. And then we will review them at the end. I have 3 shameless plugs for y'all, okay? The first is if you enjoyed this Quilt-A-Long and want to do another one, or you jumped in on this Quilt-A-Long but then never got started and you're like, shoot, I would like another opportunity to participate in a Quilt-A-Long. Or you missed this one because, life was lifing or whatever, and you're like, I hope there's going to be more Quilt-A-Longs. Then we do have a Quilt-A-Long for Perfect Fit is the current plan. It's going to start in January. So we have set up an interest page. So if you're like, yes, I would like to know when the official signups go live and there's info and all of that, we've put together a simple name email form that you can drop your info in, and that way we know that you care about joining the next Quilt-A-Long. So that will be in my stories when we finish up. The other 2 shameless plugs, Nope, I'm going to lump that into one. The next shameless plug is that Free Motion Quilting Academy and Ruler Quilting Academy open for enrollment on Friday. Okay, so for those of y'all who have done one or both of those classes, you know how fun and transformational they are. You know the magic and the joy of being able to finish your own quilts. And last time I checked, a whole bunch of y'all just finished a quilt top that needs to be quilted. So if you're like, man, I wish I could quilt this myself. Man, I'm really tired of my long armor, who might be me, taking a while to finish my quilts. Man, that'd be really cool to do a quilt start to finish. Man, free motion quilting and or ruler quilting has been on my bucket list for a minute. It means that you can get a jump start on that 2025 goal by signing up starting on Friday for Free Motion Quilting Academy and Ruler Quilting Academy. We have some special deals this time for those of you who have maybe signed up for one of those classes in the past and you're now signing up for the other one, or if you sign up for both classes at one time. So because you signed up for our Quilt-A-Long, you are on our email list, but you do need to make sure that you are on the course wait list as well. So again, I will put those links in my stories when we wrap up. By the way, if you're watching this replay on YouTube, I put all of these links down in the caption of the video. Okay, my final shameless plug is that Black Friday deals are coming. This one is obviously a little bit time sensitive, but those of you on the email, do be sure to check your inboxes tomorrow morning. I have something for you. All right. Without further ado, Margot says, that's me. I have fabric, but not get started. That's okay, Margot. You can start a future quilt. We have 4 more Quilt-A-Longs coming in 2025. We already planned them out. They're going to be phenomenal. I'm so excited. Tiger Mama says, oh, yes, yes, jump in with us. And Robin, you're going to bring your quilt up and I can't wait to see it. Does that mean I get to quilt it? Yes. That makes me happy. I'm always reminding y'all that I want y'all to take my classes and put me out of a job as a long armor, but also I do love it when I get to quilt your quilts. Margaret says, I have 8 projects that need to be quilting. That's a lot, but I'm hoping to get started in a few weeks after surgery recovery. Yes, Margot, just take it slow. Listen to your body. Take lots of breaks. Okay? All right. Good morning, Dot. Hello, hello. I see all of y'all. And, oh, who just said hello? Oh, good morning, Dot. I said hello as you were saying hello. I think that's given enough time for those who have struggled to maybe find the live stream because of my little tech issue to join us. So actually, you know what? Before I pull up the slide deck, I'm going to do another important thing, and I'm going to check my DMs because sometimes I get messages from y'all having trouble finding things, and I don't see them till later because they get lost. Okay, we look good. Let's take a peek at your beautiful Polaris quilts. Are you so excited? Now, listen, I know that this is kind of funky on this screen right here because we are watching this on a vertical platform. So I am going to make sure that these get embedded into that same blog homepage. Look how cute that is. You can still see my face at the bottom. This will get embedded as a PDF into the blog homepage where we've been linking all of your resources. So go check that out in just a little bit after our video if you want to actually go through these at your own pace. Read what everybody has to say a little bit more thoroughly, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Good morning, Betsy. Good morning, Jesse. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, Jan. Yay. All right. Welcome to the Polaris Virtual Quilt Show. We're going to really hope that I can read y'all's words on these slides in this tiny baby format. I don't think I'm going to be able to. So I'm going to, again, be toggling back and forth between a couple of tabs so that I can read y'all what's on here. Okay. So, oh, that's the wrong tab. This is going to be the fun part. For the last 6 weeks, dozens of rock stars have been hard at work on their Polaris quilts. Many of you, we've strengthened our community. We've had some very real and very important conversations. Some of y'all have sent me the most heartfelt notes for which I am forever grateful. And we have grown our quilting skills, right? We have made, as I suggested at the beginning of this Quilt-A-Long, our own night sky full of stars, right? I don't know about y'all, but this whole dark at 5 p.m. thing, it gets me every year. But there is something beautiful about being able to stitch stars of light, of hope, of joy, and of community. And today we get to celebrate those gorgeous quilts. So let me present the work of our amazing quilting rock stars and some little tidbits that each of you shared about your beautiful quilts. First up, we have Amy Skillen. Amy says, I bought Jane Austen Mansfield Park Fat Quarters and didn't know what I was going to do with it. I was a lit major / English language arts teacher / now a librarian. Amy, that sounds like an ideal life path. So these literary fabrics were calling to me. This Quilt-A-Long was perfect to use the fat quarters. I added correspondence from the collection for the background since I enjoyed listening to the book and watching the movie while I created. Amy, this is big lit major energy. And as a fellow lit major, and maybe at some point in the future English teacher, I co-sign every last bit of it. My degree is in English and in teaching. And while I teach here, rather than in a lit classroom, at least for this stage of my life, I love everything about this. Yay, Amy, your timing was perfect. Oh, how amazing. Okay. There is a little bit of a delay between what I'm saying and what y'all see. So just so you know. Next up, we have Judy Krause. Judy says, all the fabric to make this quilt was pulled from my stash. Judy, this is one of the most delightfully scrappy Polaris quilts that I have seen, and I am obsessed with the fact that you somehow managed to also baste quilt and bind this in time to be in the show. And I know y'all are gonna have to look close at my oh, you know what, I can probably just zoom. Yay, now you don't have to look close at my forehead as I look. This is fabulous. I love your scrappy backgrounds too, and your scrappy cornerstones. Judy, what an absolutely beautiful quilt. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. I love it. Robin, you were a librarian for 30 years. See, this is, this explains some things. Sometimes I find out after the fact why I click with y'all, right? All right, next up, we have this beautiful quote by Ellen Carley. Ellen says, here are my first 12 blocks of a 1230 block quilt. Ellen, shout out to you for sharing where you are and for not depriving us of the joy of getting to see these blocks, even though you're still working on them. I love that. I've chosen fan colors with leaves and bright blue skies represented. I'm going to love having this in my collection of fall quilts. This is like a fall day on a quilt, really and truly. Ellen, this is beautiful. I love the scrappiness of it. I love that y'all really took to heart the encouragement to make this a scrappy quilt, to work from your stashes and to share this beautiful work with us. I love it. I can't wait to see it finished. And y'all, please, 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 as these get like all the way to the finish line, please share pictures of the continued process. You can share them in the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group. You can share them in your stories or your feed here on Instagram. Just tag me at String and Story. I love it. I love seeing your works in progress and as they finish towards being completed quilts. Next up, we have Jessie Worsham. Jessie, I love how you decided to lay out this quilt. Jessie says, my first Polaris made with strawberry lemonade fat quarter bundle and paintbrush dark sea green for the background. That background is perfect, Jessie. I love it. I love it. And what just it's just calming. I love it. You could just snuggle in and exhale. And you know that I love a bold background choice. So here we are. Absolutely fabulous. Love, love, love. Hi, Clara. Good morning. I agree. So Tiger Mama 93 says, this period is period. Gorgeous! Exclamation point. I agree completely. So fabulous. Those of y'all commenting, oh, hi, Barbara, on Jessie's points. Well, Barbara, you know, Jessie is nothing if not precise. I admire it, even though I do not always emulate it. And it's fabulous. Next up, we have Megan Eagle. Megan, this is so lovely. She says, I use a variety of woven fabrics for this quilt. The colors remind me of late fall in New England, and I plan to use a wool batting for a snugly warm quilt. I love this color palette. This is perfectly like those last few leaves, the evergreens covered in frost, maybe that first snowfall hitting the ground. Megan, what a beautiful quilt. I love your fabric choices. It is magnificent. Y'all, these are so fun because I love seeing all of your different projects and choices. Next up, Suzanne. Suzanne says, and bonus points to Suzanne for being in her photo, gold star, big rock star energy. You know I love that because I don't always get to see y'all, right? I got to see Francie Jo and Susan Ruff in person for the first time. Like, we've known each other for online for years, right? Like, been here in the Quilting Rockstars. Got to see them in person at a quilt show this weekend, and both of them understood the assignment because they came up to me saying their name, because I know their name, but I don't get to see y'all's faces super often. So Suzanne, thank you for sharing. Suzanne says, I had a Tula Pink back quarter bundle earmarked for a different pattern, but when I saw this Quilt-A-Long, I decided it would be perfect. I agree. This is just the first 24 blocks for a queen size. Yes, those of us going big or going home, unite. Admittedly, you're further along than I am. It's going to go on our bed when it's done. Mine too. My husband loves it so far. Suzanne, this is wonderful. And I love that dark background. I feel like it takes those bright saturated Tula colors and gives them a sophistication. Absolutely fabulous. Oh, Amy says, I need to use this pattern with a black background, right? It's so good. Oh, and Suzanne has since gotten 12 more blocks finished. You're crushing it, Rockstar. Absolutely crushing it. Next up, we have Robin Tibbs. Here's your beautiful quilt. Robin says, excuse myself, we know it here to take a photo. I think you did a great job. I used a Figo collection in my stash that I purchased at String and Story. So this is Horizon from Figo from a couple of years ago. And I was so delighted to see you pull this out, Robin, because it was a lovely collection that we carried. And I'm delighted to see how well it chopped up. I'm zooming in my other tab. And I love how those flying geese have their funky little directionality to them, the flying geese fabric. So good. The solids are paper solids that I purchased to go with the collection. I regret that I did not make it more scrappy. Too many repeated fabrics. This quilt came along at the perfect moment to get me back into sewing. I've been on a 9-month hiatus caregiving for my late husband who passed in September. He was my Polaris for nearly 50 years. Robin, I somehow didn't cry when you were in here the other day, but I might now. This is so beautiful, and I love it. And I am so honored that you chose this moment and this Quilt-A-Long to step back into your quilting community. We are here to welcome you with open arms. Because as we've talked about a lot over the last couple of weeks and the past years, right? We care for each other. I was sharing with the Backstage Pass members this week about a phrase that my best friend and I use, right? Because as we grow up and we become adults, sometimes our mothers continue to mother us in various ways or whatever. But the reality is that for most women, we become the caregivers, right? But we never cease to need care. And so Lexa and I coined the phrase, we mother each other, right? And I just think of that when we're going through hard things as a community, or when a member of our community is navigating something difficult and needs that extra tenderness of we mother each other. And thank you for letting us hold you, albeit virtually, albeit, in many ways from a distance over these last weeks and months. And I'm so honored that you're here, and I'm grateful for you. And I think this quilt is perfect just the way it is. But trust me, if you want to make a scrappier Polaris, I will happily be your enabler for that moment. Okay. You know that. Let's see. Oh, these are such beautiful comments. Michelle says, I have tears, Robin. That's an amazing tribute. Michelle, I know you understand. Oh, Robin, it's okay to tear up. You know that. All the hugs from all of us to you. We love you so much. And I agree, Barbara. I love how the orange and gold creates that sparkle throughout. Next up, we have Ellen Balut. This is lovely. Ellen says, I had so much fun putting this one together. I chose fabrics from my favorite color palette, and as it started coming alive, I decided I won't be parting with it. This one's for me. Yes, ma'am, Rockstar. I love that energy. It is important to make quilts for ourselves. The process of making quilts is a form of self-care, and sometimes that's a lovely form of self-care, even when the quilt is meant to be a gift. But there's also something about pouring into a quilt that is going to be yours, right? Of investing that time and energy into maybe when your future self needs that mothering, and maybe there's not someone physically there to wrap that hug. Past you can wrap present you in a quilted hug, right? There's something really special about that. And I love these calming colors. This is absolutely beautiful. It's in my queue at the Moda collection. I love it, Robin. a quilt for you. Perfect, Ellen. A perfect sentiment. Rockstars have to pour into their own cups in order to pour out, right? We talk a lot about the investment we all make out, right? That it's important to pour into us too. You can't pour from an empty cup. Next up, we have Dot. Dot K says, I learned so much about being on point with this quilt. So many points don't match, but that's okay. I'm a work in progress. This will be the first quilt I quilt on my long arm. Yes! I've had it a year now and haven't done one yet. It is time, Rockstar. What is it? Mufasa in Lion King says, it is time, right? It's time. Holly Ann's long arm class has given me hope that I can do this. You totally can, Dot. And this is going to be a beautiful one to finish. Look how cozy that is. You made extra blocks too. How big is that one, Dot? That one looks bigger. It looks bigger. I love it. I will tag over to the comments in a second once the live video catches up to see how big your quilt is, Dot. And these dark backgrounds, y'all. I love it. I love it. All right. Next up, we have Suzette Peterkin Denton. She said, I did the queen size and added a small border. Suzette, this is stunning. And I have to be honest with you, it makes me slightly intimidated for exactly how big my quilt is going to be, because this is the size I'm also making. But also, what a lovely, lovely quilt. It is a stunner for sure. So Suzette, beautiful work, calming colors. What bed is lucky enough to get this quilt? Is it for you? Is it for your home? Is it for a gift? The people want to know, Suzette. The people want to know. Let's see. You're keeping this one for me too. I love that, Dot. Let's see, Dot. What did you add the size yet? Not yet. I love that you're keeping it. That's perfect. Yay! Next up, we have, this is a Fableism quilt. Raina says, I loved working on this Fableism quilt. This is probably the largest quilt I've made, and I cannot wait to get it loaded on the long arm. Raina, what a treat. Okay, so here's something I love about this quilt, right? This quilt that Raina made and the quilt behind me, for lack of a better word, are sisters, right? Because they are a very similar situation in terms of, we've got that green background, white cornerstones, it's all Fableism, but none of those are exactly alike, right? Like those kits that we made, they're all kind of scrappy. And so I love seeing that slightly different variation from mine to yours. It is beautiful, Raina. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, someone tried to call me, and now I have to wait for that tab to disappear from the corner so that I can toggle to the next. Are these incredible? These totally finished quilts? Mine is not totally finished, so it's okay if yours isn't. Next up, we have Melinda Copeland-Thorne. Oh, Melinda, this is delightful. Melinda says, so does at the block stage, but I think this will be the final layout. I really like that. Are you making a smaller throw? Are you adding more blocks? Like, what's the vision, Melinda? I think that looks really stunning. And I love those calming kind of eggplanty purples and that printed background. It looks so great. Yes, we did put a lot of fabric into our kits. And the reason for that is because we were cutting scrappy. I wanted to make sure that y'all had plenty of wiggle room, that if you wanted to go larger, of course you could, but also that if the cutting took a second to find your groove, that you were going to be A-okay, right? Beautiful work, Melinda. I love those colors. So soothing. Next up, we have Kathy Marco. I love it. Kathy says, I chose batik fabrics for my scrappy quilt. Many of the fabrics were leftover fat quarters from another quilt I made a couple of years ago, plus some bulk batiks that I bought for my aunt's estate. When I get this quilt completely finished, I'll be sending it to a friend of mine from Japan. Oh, Kathy, that's so lovely. And again, I love this bold background choice. It provides the perfect punch. I think because Polaris has a reasonable amount of background, but not a ton of negative space, it really lends itself to having that extra little spice, and I like it. And spicy is a great way to describe that background. Barbara, I agree. The color combo was fabulous. Yay! Again, the background. I know. I agree. These marvelous bold backgrounds, y'all are phenomenal. Next up, Barbara. Barbara says this quilt is fabulously kitschy. Y'all, this is so great. And you will have to zoom in on the PDF slides after I post them. It's quilted with a Sasquatch edge to edge in gold thread because a family friend asked for a Bigfoot quilt. The Polaris pattern is gorgeous, and I used a string and story fabric kit featuring speckled fabric. Taste, please take it easy on me. Barbara, I just am so in love. So Barbara came in, when was this? A week, 2 weeks, something ago, and was telling me about this quilt. And, you know, she had gotten the kit from us, so I could picture like the top fairly well. But then she told me about the gold thread, like it's like metallic gold, and this Bigfoot edge to edge that she did. And I simultaneously was so in awe and was a little like, oh my gosh, what a choice. But seeing it, Barbara, it's so good. It's so funny. And truly last night, so Clara, my online business manager who does all of the behind the scenes tech magic, we had our meeting yesterday that we have every Tuesday, and we were going over these slides and just making sure we had everything. And she, you know, she was checking on formatting, and I was like, okay, but like you have to zoom in on Barbara's. And we just laughed, Barbara. It's so great. I love it. And I love that you leaned in to the kitsch and leaned into what this family friend wanted. And what a treat. Like just what a delight. I do still think that you're going to have to make another Polaris though, and quilt it with a different pantograph with gold thread. All right. Next up, we have Eileen Ryan. Eileen says, I used from my stash 2 layer cakes, a black jelly roll, and 2.5-inch white squares, and didn't even make a dent in my collection. I love the scrappiness of this. I love that you had those things on hand and then it was enough to do the quilt. That's fabulous. Eileen, this is beautiful. Again, the black background. Oh, did we make 2? We made 2 Fabulism Polaris kits with black backgrounds. Adrian got one of them. We sold another one at the quilt show last weekend. And I just hope that when they get stitched up, that photos make their way back to me, because these black backgrounds are so striking and so stunning. And the rainbow vibe is everything on all of these. I love them. Brilliant. Huzzah! Rockstars, that is your amazing virtual Polaris quilt show. You did a beautiful job on these quilts. Thank you so much for stitching along with me over the last 6 weeks. I'm a little sad that we have a break until after the new year in our Quilt-A-Long happiness. But I know that we will stay in touch via social anyway. And as I mentioned, I'm going to change the slide as a reminder to all of us. We have made an interest page. It looks like this, as you can see on the screen, and I'm going to put all the links up in my stories, and then they will be saved to the Polaris highlight. If you're watching on YouTube, all of these links are going to be down below in the caption. But you just simply put in your name and email address. If you say, hey, please make sure I get the info about the next Quilt-A-Long. I think I want to jump in. Obviously, it's not like a hard and fast, then you have to. Right. But it's just letting us know that you want in on the next one. You don't want to miss out again. I'm also going to include links to the Free Motion Quilting Academy and Ruler Quilting Academy waitlist. Those enrollments signups open on Friday. They are coming so quick. We won't get started until after the new year. Okay. So you will sign up now. You'll have time to gather supplies, et cetera, but class will actually start in January. So signing up for Free Motion Quilting Academy and our Ruler Quilting Academy is a wonderful way to get a jump start on that 2025 goal, that come the beginning of January, you're like, oh, I've already gotten a jump start on this bucket list item of being able to quilt my own quilts. Plus, we have live video Q&As for that too. So it's another opportunity for us to spend some time together. Okay? Rockstars, wonderful job. Thank you so much for joining me today. It has been a delight to hang out with y'all. And like I said, we will keep in touch and we will do more soon. Bye for now.